Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, we are seeing temperatures moderate slowly across the Canadian Prairie. We are absolutely not headed towards any sort of big warm-up, but we are slowly going to creep out of the basement here, bringing in more, seasonally appropriate temperatures here, and we're going to keep a relatively dry pattern in place as well as we look at the next 7 days. Continuing to see this dry corridor from the Canadian Prairie down into much of the Corn Belt. So a lot of the snow over the next week going to be north of Highway 16. We'll see some of that in the higher elevations here across western Alberta, but by and large we'll see some opportunities for some flurries, maybe some light rain showers, but not a lot in the way of real significant precipitation across the prairie over the next 7 days. Temperatures on Friday morning near freezing across much of southern Alberta, above freezing as you head slightly north from there, and then as you head east, across southern and eastern Saskatchewan, getting into southern Manitoba, that's where temperatures fall from around -4 to maybe -6, -8 in some of the colder spots. So you look at the satellite animation, we are seeing a storm system kind of riding over and above the top of that ridge that we've been talking about here in the Gulf of Alaska, and so that is bringing some precipitation to western portions of the prairie. This morning, we've got some light snow showers here across Grand Prairie, maybe some snow falling in Edmonton, eventually seeing some of that spread down toward Calgary and Medicine Hat. Not expecting a lot in the way of accumulation with this, again, until you get towards some of the higher elevations here of western and southern Alberta. So we'll look at the high-resolution Canadian model, watching this area of low pressure. This is a relatively weak area of low pressure tracking from northwest to southeast. Again, that chance for some heavier snow as you head toward the higher elevations here, but elsewhere across the prairie, just looking at, cloudy day, the chance for some, and this lingers into the overnight, but cloudy overnight, the chance for some light rain showers, maybe some light snow flurries, perhaps some areas waking up to a quick coating. But by and large, this precipitation comes to an end then Saturday morning into midday, and then by Saturday evening, most areas should be dry in the precipitation department. As we head into Sunday and Monday, then we're going to see the ridge slowly kind of spreading east. We'll look at the jet stream pattern here in a moment, but really going to be forcing the storm track off to the north and the east of the prairie. And so we can see that here. Right now we're dealing with this ridge in the Gulf of Alaska, so the flow going up and over the top of that ridge, bringing in cooler air and the chances for those light snow flurries across the region that we've seen over the last day or two, and then we're experiencing today into tonight and tomorrow morning. As we take this a bit further, though, into early next week, so this will be Monday, we kind of take that ridge, begin to squish it off to the south and to the east, and we develop split flow across the region. What I mean by that is you see this big wave approaching from the west across the Pacific Ocean right here. Then you see the flow split. We get the northern branch goes up there, we get the southern branch comes around the Four Corners region, the southwest of the U.S. They come back together here and kind of race off to the north and to the east. And so when we get this split flow, where the jet stream winds are converging, coming back together, that's generally a dry pattern, and so that's why things are going to be drier here as we head into early next week, into mid next week. We'll then have to watch what happens when this stronger wave comes ashore as we get into the middle part of next week. That's going to bring a chance for maybe a resumption to a more active pattern here, more organized precipitation chances as that flow begins to come ashore. In the short term, though, let's look at this loop of 24-hour precipitation. And again, it's going to start off with this little wave making its way through, bringing the very light snow, very light rain to the prairie as we head through the next 48 hours or so. But then you see things coming to an end. So I'm going to pause it here Sunday. Now you're seeing this dry window developing across the prairie. And as I just hit play on this, you're going to see it continuing into Monday, Tuesday, and then here. Let me bring it back to where we start to see the precipitation perhaps starting to filter back in, and that is as we get into Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of next week. And again, that is because of the strong wave waiting off the coast here as we get into early next week. So we develop split flow across the region here as we get into the early part of the week, keeping things dry across this corridor. And then as we get into maybe Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, that wave moves ashore. We bring in a maybe more organized chances for some precipitation as we head through the last half of the next week. So let's see if that makes sense then, looking at the precipitation forecast in our areas of low and high pressure here, the surface pressure, over the next week or so. So taking it into the rest of the day Friday, here's our main area of low pressure across northern Manitoba, but light precipitation kind of lingering back behind that, light snow flurries, light rain showers, the heavier snow possible in the higher elevations here. Heading into Saturday now, That front sweeps across the region. Now we're getting into Sunday. Now we shut things down. Saturday night, we'll begin the dry stretch. Here's this little area of low pressure coming up and over the top of that ridge. You see a series of those missing the prairie here Sunday and Monday. So here's Sunday. Taking it into Monday morning, maybe the chance for some light flurries across southern Manitoba, Winnipeg, maybe seeing some Monday morning flurries. Here comes Tuesday. Here comes our next wave north of the prairie. Tuesday night. Getting into Wednesday, now our wave is beginning to move ashore from the Pacific, and this is when we could start to see the more organized precipitation chances, but of course we'll talk about the details there Monday, and then again on Wednesday, because this is lingering in the back half of next weekend. It does look like Monday, Tuesday, and much of Wednesday will be quiet across the prairie. So here's the next 5 days of total precipitation, and then here's the next 7. So this takes us through Tuesday, and there's where you see the dry corridor across the prairie here. And then as you get into beyond that, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we start to add in a little bit of precipitation, but you don't see a big corridor of, red shading or even yellow shading like you're seeing off toward the west and to the east or anything like that, coming through the prairie. So we do maybe turn it more active, bring in the chance for more widespread precipitation chances as we get to the back half of next week, again after April 22nd. But right now, not tracking any, kind of corridor of significant precipitation, early severe weather, or heavy significant snow. In fact, when we look at the probability of 1 inch or more snow falling, of course, an inch going to be about 2.5 centimeters of snow. Almost nowhere expected to see that. You get very low probabilities here in the high elevations of the Alberta and British Columbia border. Some specks up here, but by and large, very low probabilities for accumulating snow across the prairie over the next 7 days, even with a cooler air mass in place at times. So we'll look at your high temperatures, not your high temperatures, but your temperature departure from average. Again, starting off on the cool side today, temperatures coolest off to the east, where they're 5 to 10 degrees cooler than average. Heading into Saturday, we'll start to see these temperatures moderating some, a little shot of cooler air on the backside of that next storm system on Sunday. And then as we move that ridge off to the east, bringing in the split flow across the western half of North America, some areas will get above average by a few degrees, especially across the west, much of Alberta, portions of Saskatchewan dealing with or feeling some of that warmth as we head into mid to late next week, and then we lose some of the detail as we headed toward the back half of the week. But temperatures probably going to be very close to where they should be this time of year. So again, not tracking any additional extreme cold across the region, but definitely not seeing any rapid warm up across the prairie either. So let's take a look then at the high temperatures over the next 10 days, your highs and lows in Calgary. Again, warming up, getting back to a little bit above average as we get into the early part of next week. Those highs right around 15 to 20 degrees. Edmonton looking at a high of 16 on Monday. That'll feel great. 15 on Tuesday, 13 on Wednesday. Regina, your average high temperature is right around 12 degrees this time of year, so we will get above average as we get into the early part of next week. Saskatoon, and then finishing up with Winnipeg, keeping things a little more steady in this area. We didn't feel quite the extreme cold. We won't feel quite the rapid warm up either. Temperatures a couple degrees below 10 degrees Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, warming up potentially as we head into the back half of next week. Have a great day, and I will talk to you again on Monday morning.